Thank you. I love the blonde on Esther. It looks really good. I wanted to ask about...
This as well.
I wanted to ask about now, like being in the now and the power of now, because when, like the gentleman was saying, you know, like you want a house and you're sitting here now and your inner being is looking at something differently than you are, and that's what your guidance is. But how does Source see if you're sitting here in the now and you don't have money, or if you don't have the relationship and the negative emotion is present? I feel like there's such a inclination to, like, you got to get off of it. You got to get out of the fear. You got to find a high-flying thought. But what is Source? What does your inner being feel about the negative emotions? Like, is it okay to...
Your inner being isn't feeling anything about your negative emotion. The reason for your negative emotion is because you're focused differently than your inner being is focused. But we think that we can have a conversation that's going to solve this for you. In other words, your power is in your now, because this is where the junction of you and you is. The now is where you blend with your inner being to one degree or another. That's what now really is all about. It's how much of me I'm allowing to be here now. And the more of me that I'm allowing to be here now, the better I feel, because that larger part of me feels wonderful all the time. And so the power of now, really, if you could understand that it's about connection and alignment and receiving mode and nothing else. Here's another piece that we want to give to you. We haven't talked about this before. And it's what you're asking for. It's the leading edge thought that this gathering has brought us to. And we want you to relax and take in what we're going to say to you next. There is no future. There's only now. Because you can't think in the future. You can't observe in the future. You can't live in the future. You're only living in the now. You're living right now. Now you can anticipate what's coming next, or you can remember what came before. And you're doing that all now, of course. But we really want you to feel that now is all we have. Any of us. If you can focus with us and really feel what we're saying to you, it will make you stop worrying about getting old, because everyone's in the same place now. It will help you to no longer yearn for younger, skinnier times. Because you're doing it now. And so if you can take away from this conversation this important understanding that now there's me and my relationship to Source, period. There's me and me allowing myself to be in the receptive mode, which is, that sweet spot that I want to be in, because then I am allowing the absolute continuum of my life experience just the way I intended it. My broader viewpoint and my human viewpoint have converged magnificently, and now we are romping forward in this moment together. Sort of following it? Now. So, our earlier conversation about that feeling of freedom, the freedom to be in complete connection with who I am. So what is compassion? Compassion is me and my physical humanness, in my now, involved in whatever I'm involved in, and feeling about it the way Source feels about it. So take it.
So what I was going to say next is, so if you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I don't have the house, or I don't have the relationship, are you invalidating now by just thinking, okay, well, my Source is only thinking about the relationship, is only thinking about a high-flying thought? Aren't you like diminishing now by not acknowledging where you are? If you're without what you want.
But if you make it as simple as it really is, right now I don't feel so good, and I'm using not having something as my reason for not feeling good. But my inner being is not doing that. And so what I'm feeling is not the absence of the relationship. I'm not feeling the absence of the house. I'm feeling my pinching myself off from how inner being is viewing the power of my now right now. When Source is looking through your eyes, the happiness of Source in regards to you is not contingent upon you having that house or not. It's contingent upon the vibration that you've found. But when you make it about the house, then you do something that Source isn't doing. So you separate yourself from Source and you diminish your power. And now you're not in the receptive mode, so you don't get the right ideas at the right time in order to get the house. Most humans are doing it in a sort of backwards way. Give me a better condition and I'll have a good feeling response to it. And Source is just always feeling good, which means conditions are always improving. And so when you flip it, when you realize that if I can find the freedom that only comes from feeling good anyway, no matter what, then the ideas will come in order to accomplish whatever it is that I need. But if you need the house to feel good, you can't get there. If you feel good, the house must come.
So when you find yourself in the tent, you just immediately acknowledge it and just try to look at it in the way that Source would.
All kinds of ideas began to flow. All kinds of ideas began to flow. First, this wonderful people that travel with Esther and for these events got everything arranged in a comfortable way, making sure that there was accommodation for all of you. And then the consideration about what to do about the heating and cooling. It's something that's sort of manually operated. In other words, everyone sort of jumped into place. Everyone's walking around with headphones. We do not believe that this hotel staff has ever been so attentive to anything ever than the power of the desire that was offered from everyone that was involved, and feel how things are sort of beginning to come into alignment. The tent doesn't seem so bad now, does it? There's an occasional motorcycle, and the man on the mower is bound and gagged and in the bushes over there. He went, it's hard to catch.
Thank you.
So did we get there?
Yeah.
So when we say to you that there is no future, sit in it and feel it with us for just a moment, because you can't be in the future. You can only be now. Now, 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 now. And in your now, there are only two choices: alignment with broader perspective or not. Some lesser degree of alignment. This helps you get your priorities straight. You can't be other than now, but you do have choices about how you feel. But so many people are regretting the past, trying to relitigate it, and in the process, messing up their now. Or they're worrying about the future, and in the process, messing up their now. Where if you were simply and singularly just wanting to feel connection with your inner being in the now you're consistently in the receiving mode. And now is so delicious as it yields and yields and yields and yields and yields to you things that most of the world calls magic, that you come to accept. That's just the way my life goes. This is just how things work out for me. Everything is always working out for me. No matter what my perspective of it is, things are always working out for me, because that is the way that it is. You can't get it wrong, and you never get it done. And it's all happening now, 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 now. So when you accept it as your responsibility or your choice or your gift or your lovely option of choosing freedom or bondage, choosing to feel good or bad, choosing to feel a little better or choosing to feel a little worse, as you strive for the way the Source within you is looking at something. Esther said to herself this morning, and she's been saying it over the last few days, it's not possible for bad things to be happening to me. It's not possible for anything other than well-being to be happening to me. So no matter what's happening, it's well-being, whether I can see that it's well-being or not. And that's the thing. That makes some of you say, oh, well, Abraham's just trying to get us to be delusional. They're trying to get us to ignore what's really going on and pretend that it is a way that it isn't. We're not asking you to pretend that a way that it isn't. We're asking you to try to see the way that it really is. We're asking you to see how it really is. And in seeing how it really is, then you see your worthiness and you see your value and you see how you are loved and you see how you are surrounded and you see how you are supported and you see why you're here and you see how good it is. And then the impulses to keep that going just continue to come and come and come and come.
So by seeing how it is, it's when you're sitting in the worry or sitting in the fear, by just...
And tell us what that really means. Sitting in the worry or the fear, what does that really mean?
It's guidance.
When I'm feeling worry or fear, what am I doing?
See, that's where the self-judgment comes in, is knowing that you're not looking at it in the way Source is looking at it.
Here's the thing. Source is adoring you, whether you are or not. And your not liking yourself is the very evidence of the way Source feels about you. Negative emotion is evidence that Source feels differently about. So if you're looking at yourself in a negative way and worrying or feeling judgment casting judgment on yourself. You've got to know that the very existence of your negative emotion means you're diverging from how source really feels. And doesn't that make you like yourself a little more when you realize that it is source's love for you that makes you feel so bad? You could not feel this bad if source's love was not there and you were denying it. If source was indifferent about you, somebody calls you on the telephone and said, hello, you don't know me. I'm just calling you to let you know that I'm never going to call you again. You'd say, okay. You wouldn't worry about it. You wouldn't be sad about it. If somebody you care about tells you that, then you have a different reaction to it. So let's say that again. Your negative emotion is your indication that you are denying the love the source is shining on you in this moment in time on this subject at hand. How good does that get? The worse you feel, the more source is trying to tell you how worthy you are. The worse you feel, the more it's source saying things are moving for you in the direction that you want them. Just relax and let it be. But when you hold to that lie or to that flawed premise and deny yourself connection with source, those feelings can be very strong, can't they? Yeah. Helpful?
Yes.